Welcome, this is a Radical Red Nuzlocke with a twist. I'll be randomizing the Pokemon and their abilities. One Pokemon per route, and when a Pokemon faints, there's no coming back. However, I'm not allowed to catch any legendaries, and only Pokemon with less than 600 BST. To get started, let's give ourselves a name and enable cheat code. I'll be using Easy Catch to save some time, making sure to select Character N, and then heading to the Professor to select our first Pokemon. This is where things get interesting. We get three options: Pincurchin, Morpeko, and Avalugg. Now most people will probably choose Avalugg in this occasion, but the twist of the run is, we'll be using Radical Red Dex Sight to see our Pokemon's ability. And we get lucky with Pincurchin's ability, which is Fur Coat, which basically doubles its defensive stat, making it a great defensive option with a unique typing. With our starter chosen, and before we can catch our first Pokemon, there's a few things we need to do. We need to head to the mart for the Professor's letter, obtain some rare candies for the early game, talk to a fisherman about an old rod, and then head back to the lab before heading back to Viridian City to get the Dex Nav. With the Dex Nav in hand, we can finally catch our first Pokemon, starting with Route 21. Checking our randomizer, we notice a monster in the grass, huge power muck, which would double an already great attacking stat, but we notice something even better: Togepi. Now little Togepi evolves into Togekiss with the ability Ice Scales. With Ice Scales, Togekiss becomes a special defensive unit with already high 115 special defense that now doubles. Forget Blissey when you have this wall. With our first catch done, we can now start to build a team, starting on Route 1 where we find Feline Prowess Mismagius, doubling its special attack stat that will serve us well in the early game. Entering Viridian City, we pick up a Kingler where we see its Mega Evolution has Drizzle, making the Crab's Hammer hit that extra hard. Whilst on Route 22, we hedge our bets on Knacklestack, who evolves into Garganacl with one of my favourite abilities, Prankster. With Iron Defense, Salt Cure, and Recovery, our opponents are going to have a hard time breaking through this wall. Route 2, we go for Golurk with Storm Drain, making him a great switch into many Pokemon if we can keep him alive long enough. Whilst on Viridian Forest, we find the ever so reliable Tentacruel, who has the ability Neutralizing Gas in this randomizer. With those additions, we have a brief encounter with Brendan, and working our way through the forest, we obtain the Pokeveil that will heal us in our journey. Our final two encounters before the first gym come by way of Diglett's Cave. We come across another Neutralizing Gas user, Milotic. After that, we head up to Pewter City to pick up a Chandelure with Drought, giving us great weather control. In the museum, we find Faulkner, and the combination of Pincurchin to Wallrufflet and the special attacking prowess of Mismagius. To take down Mottrel and Flittle, we can finally head over to Brock to take him down. With 4 fully evolved Pokemon, and 2 of them being water types, it's no surprise that we make light work of Brock. With a ghost type to avoid any explosions from Geodude, we play recklessly with Mismagius to take out the Onix, and then switching into Pincurchin to deal with Varoom and Archon to give us our first badge of the run. With that, we can add a couple more additions to the team, the first one on Route 3, giving us a huge power Perugly, with Stab Fake Out, breaking all those sashes, and then hitting back fast and hard for the KO. Heading to Mount Moon, usually with the abundance of encounters, you'd expect to pick up a great Pokemon, but we were left disappointed, opting to go for Intrepid Sword Persian. For the Super Nerd Miguel fight, we lead Mismagius and Tentacruel, and without Tentacruel's hidden ability Neutralizing Gas being a factor just yet, we continue to use Mismagius and the super effective sludges from Tentacruel on Voltorb and Thwackey to take them down with ease, leaving Sableye and Bibarel. With no great options for Mismagius to hit normal types, we switch in Pincurchin to finish the job. Leading Tentacruel for the Archon fight, Water Pulse takes down the Glimmet, couple sludges to bring the mighty Anna low, who had howled up and gotten Tentacruel low in the process. But Pincurchin comes in, eats up any attack, and takes down mighty Anna. The tag team of Pincurchin and Mismagius then defeats Houndour, to win our first Team Rocket encounter. Exiting Mount Moon and into Cerulean City, our next gym approaches, and it's Misty. Misty provides slightly more challenging foe than Brock, so we lead Mismagius to get us off on a fast track, but we miss out on the KO on Frogadier, taking some damage back before getting the KO. Misty sends out Starmie, and without the analytics boost, we survive the Psyshock and hit back with a Hex to take it down. Next up is Floatzel, who always deceptively hits hard. With Technician, Mystic Water and Flip Turn, he can whittle your Pokemon down, so we switch in Perugly, who ends up face to face with Clodsire. Looking at my box, I didn't have a great Pokemon to take care of the Clodsire. With some needed flinches and a Citrus Berry prop, we take him down, leaving Tentacruel to sludge Floatzel to gain our second badge. With the badge obtained, the level cap is at 34, which lets us evolve a few Pokemon, giving us a full squad and adding Golurk into the team. Quick battle with Gary with our new addition, making light work of Curlier and Charmeleon, before barely living on a massive knockoff hit from Ponyard, for Pincurchin to come in and finish off the job with Thundershock on Staravia. On Nugget's Bridge, Tentacle provides spread damage with Icy Wind, and Mismagius claims the KOs in the first two double battles. And a few more battles down our belt, at the top of the bridge, we find a Rocket Grunt, who has a last resort, Umala, a Rocky Helmet Togedemaru, but with a Ghost type and Golurk in the team, we don't run into any issues. Our reward for defeating the Grunt is 2 new Pokemon, and look who's back in town. We fish up that huge power muck on Route 24 before adding Grassy Surge Reuniclus to the squad on Route 25. After getting the SS ticket from Bill, we decide to take an optional battle, the Johto leader, Bugsy. With some real attacking bug threats, we lead Kingler on the low kicks, who Rock Tombs into Flip Turn for the KO. Bringing in the debut of Muck, who's faced against Sizzle, who enjoys a fire attack slightly less in the rain. However, a few Rock Tombs get the job done before Bugsy sends out Lydian. We whittle it down with Mismagius, but we have to send in Pincurchin after the mage gets paralysed for a Bubble Beam takedown from Pincurchin before the real threat comes in, and that's Technician Cypher. With only Thundershock, we have to switch into Golurk, but this allows Cypher to Swords Dance up. We hit Cypher with a Rock Tomb, but Cypher does another Swords Dance, and we're in trouble. Looking at my team, I can't afford a switch in, so we decide to leave Golurk in. And unfortunately, Cypher gets the critical hit on the Aerial Ace, bringing down a water immune Golurk and a hard first loss. I make another mistake and send in Pincurchin to finish off the Cypher, but with Stab Technician boosted Bug Bite, the Cypher eats my berry, but I get lucky with a Thundershock Paralysis that allows me to switch in Tentacruel, who outspeeds and finishes the job with Water Pulse in the rain. We lick our wounds and continue on the journey, with the next battle being another Rocket Grunt. Muck leads, the Poison Fang the Persian, before a couple more poisonous bites take out the pig. Some Rock Tombs take out the Eviolite Golbat, and with Black Sludge keeping us healthy, we survive a Skill Link Octillery Rock Blast and finish off the Octillery with a critical hit Poison Fang. The pain of Golurk was short-lived when we run into Primordial Sea Kingdra in Route 5 and a well-baked body Glalie, whilst on Route 11 we settle for a fluffy Golduck before entering the Essasan. In the Essasan, we take on the pledge-wielding double battle. We decide to lead off with Mismagius and Reuniclus. Mismagius sends out an Icy Wind, take down the Dartix, and Reuniclus adds defense to the team with a Light Screen, a combination of Icy Wind and Psyshock to deal with the Simisage, with the same combination used to take out the left side of the field, making the rest of the battle an easy 2-on-1. Take out the Simisear and the Doo-Wop. Next up, the Sailor double battle, and we use the same strategy, with Icy Wind for speed control and Light Screen, since we only have to deal with special attacking attacks. With a couple more Icy Winds and Psyshocks, we clear the left hand side, leaving another 2-on-1 battle in our favour. With that, Mismagius and Reuniclus can finish the battle. Brendan is next, who isn't much of a challenge with the team we have, making sure to bring a counter for Crawdon, who can get out of hand without a check, hitting hard with adaptability boosted, knockoff, waterfall, and priority Aqua Jet. We lead huge power Muck for the easy down on the Loudrip, with a consecutive Poison Fang on the Crawdon, which poisons the crab before we have to switch out to Pincurchin to absorb any physical attack, letting the poison take him down the same turn. Next up is Grovyle, where we decide to recover before he power-up punches to raise its attack. We don't have anything to really hurt the grass starter, so we switch out into Mismagius, but Brendan does the same and goes into Lunatune. There we can hex the Lunatune and finish the Grovyle with a Mystical Fire to open up the route to Surge with the Cut HM. For Surge's team, he has a few standout mons to look out for, all boosted by the electric terrain set up by Pincurchin. So we'll be looking to counter terrain by setting up our own with Reuniclus as soon as possible, with hard hitters in Vigavolt and Iron Fist boosted Pawmot. Adding a Mega Manectric to the mix, we see the difficulty level up a bit. Leading the line with Glalie to try and freeze dry the Pincurchin, but Lieutenant Surge switches to take the hit. With Pincurchin back in, we set up a Light Screen. Glalie comes back in. This time the freeze dry crits the oncoming Vigavolt. With the newly evolved Togekiss, we switch it in to take a Bug Buzz and take 1 damage before hitting back with an Ancient Power, whilst the flying bug roosts. A cycle of Ancient Power and Roost, with an Ancient Power raising all our stats midway through, takes the Vigavolt down and the electric terrain gone. With those boosts, we stay in with Manectric, who threatens with super effective moves. We go for 2 Aura Spheres, just missing out on the KO. But with another Roost, we stay healthy enough to afford to go for another Aura Sphere, take down the Mega. Pincurchin returns to set up terrain, but with Roost we avoid another super effective hit and heal up, but get paralysed in the process. We stay in to get the most out of the boost, and a few Aura Spheres and Roosts, we take out the Pincurchin, where we finally have to switch out when Pawmot takes the field. We try and Muck, but he takes too much damage from Thunder Punch in the terrain. So we bring in Reuniclus to set our own, before finally switching into our very own beefed up Pincurchin to take the Pawmot's hit. In return, Surge sends out Bellibolt, who proves to be a bit of a menace, so we try and whittle him down with Mismagius' Mystical Fire, trying to nullify the boost Bellibolt gets with its ability. For Glalie to then switch in and get the KO with Bulldoze, leaving a 1v1 of Pawmot and Pincurchin. Risking a crit at any time, Pincurchin Venoshocks and Recover spams, with Pawmot consistently healing with Drain Punch. The battle ends on 7 HP with Bubble Beam. Definitely could have played that better, but we get the badge nonetheless. With the badge in hand, we head to Route 9. To take out the contrary Spinda, we pick up another Ice Scales mon in Farafrig on Route 10, and then Stamina Blastoise in Rock Tunnel. Coming out of Rock Tunnel, there's a few Pokemon we can add to the team. Starting with Route 8, we pick up a Aurora Sneasler that makes punching moves hit a second time for 50% damage, and an Earth Eater Torkoal in Route 8, finishing with a less impressive Primordial Z, Zoroark, on Route 16. And with that, we can finally get the T to open up Saffron City and obtain the Dream Patches to get the right ability we wanted all along. With the level cap at 44 and the stones available, we can get a few evolutions and abilities wrapped up before our next gym battle with Erica. Now Erica leads with Rillaboom, who similar to Surge, sets up its own terrain to support a team, but in this case, we don't have a mon to counter the terrain, so we'll have to just deal with the extra damage that stab grass type attacks will do to our team. With 2 bulky mons in Meganium and especially thick fat Mega Venusaur, and we need to watch out for those speedsters in Meowscarada and Electrode, with the latter being able to explode at any time. We lead Muck with a Shuckerberry to take the high horsepower and then hits back with our own Poison Fang to get the battle started. We stay in with Muck against Venusaur, taking the Sleep Powder, before Farigiraf can come in to take in any hit with Ice Scales. We go for the Twin Beam, but it gets red, and Meowscarada can come in to the immune Psychic move. In turn, we switch in Torkoal, who has good defensive bulk, to take the incoming knockoff, and hit back with a Flamethrower, with the second hitting the Venusaur after the cat U-turns out. We decide to bring in Togekiss for some reason, but even with super effective Sludge Bombs and a Poison, we still manage to take out the Venusaur with Air Slash, showing the true power of Ice Scales. With Electrode coming in, for the easy KO, we have another Ice Scales Mom to stop him in his tracks. With nowhere to go, we anticipate the explosion and switch into our Ghost type to take no damage. Meganium comes in and we chip away with Farigiraf, for Mismagius to then come in and finish the job, leaving the speedy Meowscarada to deal with. With Garganacl's priority Iron defense, we minimize its attacks and we can finally end the battle with a Heavy Slam that gives us the Rainbow Badge. After picking up some TMs, we got some Rocket Grunts to take care of, starting in the game corner, avoiding the Dark Void Bad Dreams Hippo by faking out the Aerodactyl and hexing the Hippo. A Scold then takes out the Aero, whilst Garganacl comes in to take physical hits from Obstagoon, and Gramble with Iron defense. A couple Scolds later and a Golduck switch-in finishes the job with Psychic. With the lift key, we can face the 2 grunts blocking the path to Giovanni, starting with neutralizing gas Wheezing, who suppresses Slaking's Truant ability. So Blastoise goes for the first turn fake out, whilst Golduck KOs with Psychic. Torkoal comes in to take a hit, with Blastoise hitting back with an Ice Beam on the Crobat, with another Ice Beam and a Heat Wave combined to take out the Diplin, before Blastoise delivers the final blow to Slaking. Next battle, Talonflame looks to set up Shiftry with Tailwind Windrider. We double switch into Torkoal and Garganacl. We make a mistake by accidentally activating Shiftry's ability with a Heat Wave. Attacks coming in leave the Torkoal low, but Golduck with Fluffy comes in to take a double target hit before Garganacl can KO the Shiftry with Heavy Slam after some Iron defenses. Switching between Togekiss and Mismagius, we can end the battle with Garganacl's Salt Cure and Heavy Slam. We finally face the Rocket Boss Giovanni, who comes in with some attacking threats, where Superlux Scope Lens Honchkrow is all but guaranteed to crit. Infernape hits hard with a Sash, Play Away Veluza, Shed-tailing Earthworm, and finally Parental Bond Mega Kangaskhan with Power Up Punch, Body Slam, and Crunch for those ghosts. We have the perfect counter for Giovanni's starting mon, Nidoking, with Primordial Sea Kingdra. Scald makes swift work with Kangaskhan coming in. Garganacl switches into the fake out, and Iron defenses on the Power Up punches. We Salt Cure to whittle down the Kanga, and then decide to Stealth Rock whilst getting paralysed in the process. Risking the paralysis, we recover up and finish with a final Salt Cure. Veluza comes in next and fillet away whilst we bring in our fur coat Pincurchin to wall, taking a Psycho Cut and KOing back with Thunderbolt. Earthworm comes in to shed tail into the Infernape, but we stay in and Scold the substitute away. Another Scold takes out the Infernape, with Earthworm passing another substitute onto Honchkrow, but Pincurchin loves the physical attacks and takes the boss bird down with a Thunderbolt, leaving Torkoal to come in and end Earthworm's shenanigans. Our reward is picking up a desolate land, Gigalith, in the Pokemon Tower before taking out the haunted Marowak and saving Mr. Fuji to obtain the Pokeflute, which gives us 2 leftovers, which we thief from Bombardier. With that, we catch up with Gary in Silphco with a quick battle. Staraptor doesn't take Pincurchin's Thunderbolt well, and Sneasler comes in to a boost in King Gambit. But with Drain Punch, the first hit takes care of the Choppleberry, with the second taking out the King. Gary sends out Azumarill, who lives a Dire Claw and hits back hard with huge power boosted Liquidation. But we survive and finish off with another Dire Claw. With Mega Charizard out, we counteract the drought with Primordial Sea Kingdra. A couple Scolds later is enough to KO the Zard. Gary is left with Jumpluff, who struggles against the Iron defense, recovering Garganacl for the win. Next battle is with the infamous Ariana and Archon fight, known to take down many runs with Mega Mawile and Houndoom making up their team. We decide to go for a neutralizing gas duo of Milotic and Tentacruel, with Ice Scale's Togekiss in the back. Hoping it'll be enough, Milotic takes the lead. We go for an early Scald on the Incineroar, but get hit with a special defensive dropping Psychic in return. We counteract that by setting up a light screen, whilst Masquerain takes out the Firecat with another Scald. Doubling up on the Gothitelle with another Scald and Bug Buzz, sends out the Primarina and the Goldingo. Togekiss comes in to flamethrower the Goldingo, missing out on a KO, but Masquerain finally takes out the Primarina, chipping away with Giga Drain, sends out the Mawile. We bring out the Tentacruel to nullify Mega Mawile's huge power ability and go for the Scald, hoping for the burn, and we get it on the second turn. Explode hits a Heat Wave, leaving only the Mega Houndoom left. A Scald and a switch into Togekiss to finish off the Dark Dog. With Aura Sphere, we survive unscathed. This gives way to a rematch with Giovanni, this time trying to set up Sand. With a Powdon to harness Excadrill's Sand Rush and Garchomp's Sandveil ability, with Shell Smashing Torterra that can catch you off guard. Just like Nidoking, our lead is Primordial Seed Kingdra, who takes down the Hippo with a Scald, which brings in Kangaskhan, who goes for a fake out on my incoming Pincurchin. I hedge my bets on a Skull Burn from Pincurchin, and luckily we get it first turn. We try to switch in Sneasler to finish the job, but end up staring down at a Garchomp. We have to U-turn out into Milotic, who fires an Ice Beam at the Garchomp, who survive and Swords Dances up. Fearing the KO, we switch into Earth-eating Torkoal to try and kill with a Body Slam as our best move. The Garchomp lives and Swords Dances again. At this point, we don't have any other switches, and as we begin to say our farewells to the Fire Turtle, Giovanni decides to switch out the threat into Garganacl. We reply with a Scald from Kingdra, and a couple more from Pincurchin to take out the Garganacl. Bringing in Torterra, we send out Torkoal. As the Grass Turtle Shell Smashes, we decide our best bet is to burn Torterra, as he sets up another Shell Smash, and with our ground immunity, we're forced to take a Head Smash, but we come equipped with Chartiberry to reduce the damage and counter back with a Flamethrower. A burnt Kangaskhan comes in, but Sneasler Drain Punches Mama Kanga, with Giovanni sending out Excadrill. For some reason, we switch out, not going for the double kill with Drain Punch, but get healed in the process of going into Torkoal. So we switch back into Sneasler and KO with Drain Punch, which leaves a weak Garchomp left. Sneasler outspeed and finishes the job with another Drain Punch. We can now attempt to get our 5th badge against Sabrina in a difficult Trick Room setting doubles battle, with hard hitters like Brute Bonnet, Ursaluna and Mega Gardevoir. The team's unpredictability causes issues in most runs. First sequence goes as planned. We lead our 2 huge power mons, with Muck's Poison Jab on Hasserine and a knockoff from Perugly onto Indeedee, which KOs and gives us a head start. Sabrina sends in her 2 Tracing Mons, and we decide to double on the Mega Gardevoir, with U turning into Reuniclus to set up the grassy terrain and Muck finishing off with a poison jab. Brute Bonnet comes in and hits hard with a knockoff on our Muck as we try to break the Porygon. With Trick Room set up, Torkoal is the fastest on the field, so we burn the Brute with Porygon teleporting into Ursaluna. So we bring in our neutralizing gas Milotic to nullify its Guts boost, but realizing Facade doesn't care about burn in the process. Togekiss gets double teamed but manages to survive with our own double attack of Aura Sphere and Scald to take down the bear. With the last two standing Mons, Perugly comes in to take out Porygon with Body Slam and finish off the Brute Bonnet with U-Turn to earn us the Marsh badge. This badge unlocks the weather routes and we decide on Route 16, the Sand Route. We come face to face with a mini biker gauntlet, and with a perfect lead in Kingdra to set up our own weather, we switch into Sneasler and hit consecutive drain punches onto the Mienshao, Heliolisk and Doug trio to take down the first biker. For the second biker, Garkanackle comes in on Dragazol, doing his Iron Defense recovery prankster games before KOing with a couple of Earthquakes, leaving the final back-to-back biker battle whose Doug trio goes down with a Scald, and Garkanackle comes in playing the same games on the poor Hariyama and then putting him out of his misery with a final Earthquake. Next biker up leads with Excelgor, who gets scolded before switching into Roserade as we flip turn out into Togekiss. We outspeed and Air Slash, with the burn taking out Excelgor, we're roost up to full. Gigalith comes in and immediately explodes as Garkanackle switches in to take the hit, leaving Houndstone left with a powerful boosted Last Respect. But you know how the story goes. Garkanackle's Iron Defense, Salt cures, and recovers his way to victory. Chandelure handles the next biker with a few flamethrowers with an assist with Sneasler in the end. Next biker was a bit more challenging with one of my favourite megas, Mega Beedrill, but Pincurchin's bulk with a Citrus Berry and Bouncy Bubble was enough to stay healthy and get the KO. We add another Prankster Mon to our team. On Route 17, we pick up Priogonal and come out of the Sandstream and into the rain. Beleading Chandelure, we set up the Drought, taking the Magnezone to its sturdy and avoiding the Custap Berry explosion as it switches out to Salamence. Togekiss comes into wall, but we didn't really prep for the Dragon Dancing Wishcast and take a massive waterfall on Togekiss, nearly taking it out as we Air Slash for the win. Moving on to Route 18, we have a few more rain battles to go, but with our Chandelure removing the rain, special defensive core of Togekiss and Farigiraf, and our reliable defensive wall in Pincurchin, we don't run into any issues. Oh, and we added Mr. Mime with adaptability for boost on stab before reaching Fuchsia City. Now blocking Safari Park is Brendan, with some familiar faces and some new ones. Adaptability Crawdaunt still hits hard, adding a choice band into the mix. But Brendan's new lead, Metagross, gets easily taken down by a sun-boosted flamethrower from Chandelure. Double Swords Dancing Sceptile is next, who gets Will-O-Wisp from Torkoal and hits hard with flamethrower, finally getting the KO with a switch and a detect. Togekiss comes in to wall the Gardevoir, setting up a nasty block and then draining kissing both the Exploud and Gardevoir to stay healthy. Pincurchin walls the Medicham and paralyzes the Gardevoir on the switch. Farigiraf baits in the close combat, which Togekiss 4 times resist, kissing it back to full health, before finally taking out the Gardevoir with Air Slash. A few notable additions. On Route 15, we pick up a fluffy Venusaur, making sure we avoid any fire attacks. And in Safari Park, we get the HM for Surf, as well as Araquanid, with the ability, you guessed it, Prankster. With Koga's gym blocked, we have some rematches to go through, starting with Brock, who opens up with Permanent Sand. We immediately override it with our own Kingdra and take an early lead with a Scald on Great Tusk. We flip turn out, triggering Arcanine's Focus Sash, but Brock struggles to get through our Garkanackle. A few switch-ins later, as Mega Aerodactyl facing up Pincurchin, Aero decides to Dragon Dance up, doesn't do enough damage, and Pincurchin's Bouncy Bubble and Volt Switch takes it out, bringing in Kingdra. We should have gone for the KO on Arcanine, but decided to bring in Garganacl to iron defense up, but it almost proves to be costly as Arcanine hits a massive crit with a head smash. With Prankster recovery, we avert the danger, with Brock switching into Tyranitar, who knocks out our leftovers only to be crushed by a body press. Arcanine comes in and realizes he can't touch my wall, only to switch out to Omnistar, who comes in to take a body press for the easy KO. Ursaluna comes in and we consider switching, but test our bulk and survive an Earth Power to counter back with another body press. Somehow Arcanine is still alive with 1 HP, and with recovery for good measure, we end the battle with a final body press. Up next is Misty with Permanent Rain, and leads Palafin, who wants to flip turn out to activate its ability, but we stop it in its track with Pawmot, who outspeed and goes for a double shock. Gigalith debuts with Oracle Compulse to evaporate any water attacks and sets up Stealth Rock as Archilodon switches in. We try out our Prankster Araquanid to stockpile up to boost our defenses, but Archilodon does too much damage, and we can't hit back with anything either. We have to resort to Togekiss for the Draining Kiss as we Calm Mind up, Roost, and Calm Mind again as a Mega Gyarados comes out. Thinking we can take a hit, we stay in, but he gets a lucky flinch on the waterfall as we have to resort to bringing in our Pincurchin, who without the leftovers wouldn't have survived the incoming crunch to KO back with Discharge. With Archilodon back in, we stop playing games and send in our Pawmot, who takes a Flash Cannon and finishes up with close combat. Kingdra comes back in as we switch into Togekiss and begin to Roost and Calm Mind up again. With a couple of Calm Minds, we're back to full with Draining Kiss and Leftover. We get our very own flinch from Theraphorn, with 2 Air Slashes giving it no action. And with Gorbis being the last mon, we continue our lucky streak with a critical KO to beat Misty for the second time. Lieutenant Surge is up next, who leads a jolly Quirk Drive Iron Threads, who wants to set up Stealth Rock. We lead Air Balloon Pincurchin, who gets a Scald Burn on the first try, and as Iron Hands comes in on the Volt Switch, we stay in and hit another massive burn, nullifying the Iron Hands. Risking the crit, we recover on low and finish the battle through Burn and Skull Chip. We try and Toxic the Belly Bolt, but end up connecting with Rotom on the switch. A few more Volt Switches, Reuniclus comes in to set up the grassy terrain, and a Light Screen with a Psychic hitting the incoming Belly Bolt. Surge continues to Volt Switch around as Pawmot is faced with Venusaur. He takes a close combat well with Fluffy, but Ice Punch hits too hard as we bring Pawmot low. Pincurchin has to come in and survives a Thunder Punch to finish off the Pawmot Scald. With Pawmot and Iron Hands down, Referig can come in on the Volt Switch to set up a Calm Mind. Iron Threads is still up, so we decide to catch it on the switch to take it down. Referig is now free to Calm Mind and abuse the Ice Scale's ability. With another Calm Mind, we end the battle with back-to-back Twin Beams for the win, opening the way for Koga. Now Koga's team is a bunch of speedsters, leading with Choice Spec Swellow with Aerialate Boom Burst, Iron Valiant to hit on both sides of the defenses, Choice Scarf Sniper Drapion with Wicked Blow, and a Mega Toxtricity with Punk Rock boosted Stab Overdrive. We bring in our Big Cat to get us to a good start by faking out the Swellow and then sucker punching it before it can get an attack off. With Drapion coming in, we take a couple wicked blows on the Venusaur, who hits hard with Earth Power, but can't stay in and risk the third hit. Togekiss comes in with Drapion locked into Wicked Blow, we Calm Mind up. Toxtricity comes in to Mega Evolve and hit us with an Overdrive, which we take well and Calm Mind up again. Greninja comes in on a switch as we roost up to full eating a Hydro Pump and KOing back with Draining Kiss. Toxtricity tries again, and this time with Boom Burst, but we Air Slash, which is doing much more damage than we are receiving. Iron Valiant goes down in the same fashion, before knocking off our leftovers. Toga keeps sending out his special attacking mons, with Excelgor next, hitting a super effective Sludge Bomb for decent damage, but we KO back with a super effective Air Slash of our own. Drapion is left, already scarred from an earlier battle. Perugly comes in full circle, takes a hit and fakes out, followed by a Sucker Punch to defeat Koga and obtain the Soul Badge. With the Soul Badge, we can finally surf, and the first thing we do is head to Route 21 to pick up Kingler's Megastone. Entering Cinnabar Island, we are matched up against May as we are trying to get into the Pokemon Mansion. Solrock is up first, trying to set up Stealth Rock, but we send in our go-to lead, Perugly, who fakes out to break the sash and tries to go for the KO with Knockout, but hits the switched in Relicanth instead. We U-turn out into Pincurchin, who takes the Head Smash easily. We avoid another Head Smash and then KO back with Bouncy Bubble to heal up. Breloom is walled by Venusaur, who can't be spored, and Sludge Bombs for the KO. Flygon can only hope to land a Fire Blast and Togekiss, so a few switches around, and Faragirif is faced with Solrock. Solrock can finally get up its Stealth Rocks, only to be taken out with Energy Ball. Flygon comes in, only to switch out and let Blaziken take a Draining Kiss. Mega Blaziken then hits Pincurchin with Flare Bits, followed by Close Combat, which Pincurchin shakes off and retaliates back with Bouncy Bubble. With only Manectric and Flygon left, Ice Skill's Togekiss can come in and whittle both mons down, staying healthy with leftovers and Draining Kiss. We can finally enter the Pokemon Mansion and pick up a Drizzle Walrein to open up Blaine. Before we can get to Blaine, there's a few items we want to pick up, and to get them, we need to take down a couple of bosses, starting with Price, who wants to set up the snow. We lead Perugly for the easy fake out, but failed the Sucker Punch as Jinx puts the cat to sleep. Chandelure comes in on the Focus Blast and overrides the snow with its Drought to take out the Jinx with a Flamethrower. Baxcalibur comes in, hits the Garganacl hard on the switch as we pranks the defense up. With Recovery followed by a Body Press, the Ice Dragon goes down. Walrein is up next, but with the Drought up, we stay in for another Body Press as we get Toxic in the process. We take an Ice Beam and finish the Walrus with another Body Press. Low on health, Pincurchin comes in on the Shell Smashing Cloyster to take any hit and KO with a Volt Switch. Bringing in Fluffy Golduck against Mega Glalie. Fishing for the burn, we hit a couple Scalds as both mons are left on low health, so Pincurchin has to come in as Bryce switches into Arcazult. Couple of Bouncy Bubbles on the Ice Fossil, Barathoric can come in and finish off with a Twin Beam on both Arcazult and the low Glalie, give us the win and more importantly the Choice Scarf. Next up is Jasmine's Steel types, who sends out the Bronzong team, which isn't a great matchup for a Sneasler, who U-turns out into Torkoal, who survives an explosion. Pincurchin comes in on the incoming Razor Shell from Samurott, who discharges twice with a KO, bringing in Melmetal. We see how much damage Earthquake does to our Pincurchin, and bring in our perfect counter, Earth Eater Turkle. Double Iron Bash still hits hard, so we have to burn the Iron Giant with Will-O-Wisp. We both switch as Magnezone comes in on a Bouncy Bubble from Pincurchin as Togekiss makes use of its broken ability. We Calm Mind up and Roost to avoid super effective Thunderbolt damage and finish off with an Aura Sphere. Not risking the matchup against Mega Aggron, Golduck comes in and takes a couple Earthquakes and fires back with Skulls to take down the Mega. For some reason, we bring in Pincurchin, take a massive Earthquake, forgetting Excadrill's Mold Breaker ability. Should have gone into Turkle to take the ground move, but Garganacl comes in and does what Garganacl do, Iron Defense, Recovery, and Body presses the Excadrill, who had just hit a massive crit beforehand. Only a burnt Melmetal is left, and Sneasler comes in and hits a crit of its own, using a double hit Drain Punch for the win. Jasmine gives us a choice band, and even better, the Assault Vest for a victory. We can now head over and challenge Blaine, but to get to him, there's a few mini-bosses we need to get through. We all set up Permanent Sun. First up is Sneasler against Mienshao, and we outspeed and win the battle of the fighting types. Rhyperior hits the incoming Kingdra with an Earthquake, but it doesn't survive the boosted Scald. Some Flora comes in, trying to boost on Togekiss, but the winged fairy is too bulky, scaring the flower away. Center Scorch Megas only to come face to face with Pincurchin, who leaves it low with Bouncy Bubble, only to switch in Arcanine on a second Bouncy Bubble for the easy KO. With 2 low Pokemons left and Pincurchin healthy, a couple more Bouncy Bubbles do the trick. Next boss leads Lycanroc, but is too slow and frail against a double punching Sneasler. Sneasler then U-turns out on the Gliscor, to bring in Kingdra, who scolds is an easy KO. Zen mode Darmanitan comes in only to U-turn out and let Ursaluna take another Scald. Charizard gets hit with the same fate as Kingdra, who is holding the newly obtained Choice Scarf for another Scald KO. Zen mode Darm is still faster, so we switch in Pincurchin, taking the Icicle Crash and Flare Blitz to KO back with Bouncy Bubble. Before we take on the final midi-boss, we have to head back to Fuchsia City to teach Sneasler Ice Punch. With the Egg move relearned, we lead Sneasler and equip Kingdra with a Choice Scarf against Noivern and Nidoking. With the rain up and Kingdra the fastest on the field, Nidoking goes down first with a Scald, followed by Noivern with the newly learned double-hitting Ice Punch from Sneasler to avoid its sash. Volcarona and Excadrill are out next, but they follow the same fate. Scald into the Fire Moth and this time Drain Punch onto the Excadrill. Braviary is left alone to get tag teamed by our leads and end the battle with another Scald and an Ice Punch to open the way to Blaine. Blaine's team hits hard, trying to use the sun to its advantage at every turn. We lead our trusted huge power cat to fake out to break the sash and then return on the Armarouge for an early lead. Mega Charizard is next, but gets his attack nullified with Kingdra's Primordial Sea ability. With a Choice Scarf equipped, we go for a Scald, but just miss out on the KO and get hit into the orange with super effective Dragon Pulse. But with no priority, we KO with another Scald. Exeggutor is up next, but with no sun to trigger its Chlorophyll ability, Togekiss can come in and a couple air slashes take the coconut tree down. Typhlosion comes in next to Eruption, but with a calm mind and Roost, we stay healthy. Blaine decides to switch in Slithering, only to be met with a quad effective air slash. Ogerpon decides to then knock off our leftovers, only then to be crit with another air slash. And with only Typhlosion left, we've already saw how much an Eruption does. So an air slash, Roost to play it safe, and an air slash again takes down the Typhlosion to defeat Blaine and obtain the Volcano badge. Before we can get our final badge, Brendan stops us on the way and teleports us into Cerulean Cave, only to run into a rematch with Archer and Ariana. This time, Archer leads with Mamoswine, but Sneasler is a perfect lead. With its ability, it can Drain Punch consecutively to get the KO, ignoring the sash. Mimikyu is up next, and we Diaclaw to break its sash as its Swords dances up. We should have switched, but another Diaclaw sends it to sleep, as Durant comes in on another Diaclaw for its immunity. Chandelure takes the Iron Head on a switch, and with a Choice Scarf, it outspeeds with a quad effective Flamethrower. Mega Houndoom is next. Terrifying as he may be, we have the perfect counter in Togekiss, eating any hit and sending 2 Aura Spheres back to take down the Archer's ace. Sleeping Mimikyu is left, and Roosting to stay healthy for the next battle, we finish off Archer for the final time with a Moonblast. Ariana comes in immediately to send out Hatterene, only to see the dire claw of Sneasler for the quick KO. We U-turn out from the Mega Mawile and Pincurchin steps in. Mawile Swords dances up as we bouncy bubble, but it's not looking like a 2-hit KO. The Mawile Swords dances up again as we go for the discharge this time, hoping for the para, and we get it. With that para, Ariana can only hope for a crit with Sucker Punch, but doesn't get it as we KO the Mega Mawile with another discharge. Looking at Haunchcrow, we decide to stay in, surviving another Sucker Punch and bouncy bubbling back some health. We recover after taking a Night Slash and then finish the Dark Bird with discharge. Rhyperior is lost and we continue to test our luck, taking a massive earthquake, leaving us on red, but ending the battle with a final, quite effective bouncy bubble. With that win, we're faced with probably the toughest fight before the Elite Four, a final battle with Giovanni, who has just captured Mewtwo. With this double battle, Giovanni has some hard hitters and bulk on its team. The combo of Tyranitar to set up the sand, and Excadrill's Focus Sash and Sand Force ability to look out for. But the real threat is Mewtwo, who somehow mega evolves after fainting with a ridiculous 194 special attack stat. But in this battle, we are joined with Lance, who has a couple monsters of his own. With that said, Giovanni leads with Scrafty and Tapu Lele, with the latter wanting to set up Psychic Terrain, but we lead Milotic with Neutralizing Gas. Lance's Dragapult is the fastest mon on the field, and a Spirit Shackle takes down the Tapu Lele, as we bouncy bubble the Scrafty, who knocks off our choice specs. With Mewtwo straight in, we switch into Hydreigon, anticipating any psychic moves, but the Dragapult gets double teamed. Mega Salamence is in next, who diverts Mewtwo's attention, taking a Soul Robbery and hitting back with a Hyper Voice to hit both targets and taking down the Scrafty with it. We had the same idea with Hydreigon, going for a Snarl to lower Mewtwo's special attack, only to miss out on the KO. Snarl takes immediate effect as Mewtwo misses out on the KO on Salamence, goes for another Hyper Voice, breaking Excadrill's Sash and taking first phase Mewtwo down. We Dark Pulse this time to bring the Mega down to half as Excadrill takes out the Salamence. With Mewtwo's attention now focused on the Dialga, who takes an Aura's Farewell to get finished off by Hydreigon, with Excadrill following suit as Dialga fires a flamethrower its way. All that's left is Tyranitar and Celesteela. Lance and I both decide to go for Tyranitar, surprisingly taking a quad effective Aura Sphere with its Assault Vest, but not enough to save it from Dialga's body press. Celesteela is all that's left, and can't take out either of our mons, and catches a critical hit of Flamethrower from Hydreigon, putting an end to Giovanni's tyranny and vowing to change his ways. We continue our adventure, and are finally face to face with the final gym leader, Claire. Claire is all about the dragons, with all four in her party able to set up and sweep your team. Boost the energy, Roaring Moon, and Gouging Fire can all dragon dance up, with Dragonite doing the same, living any hit with multi-scale and weakness policy for good measure. Naganadel can boost up its special attack with every KO with Beast Boost, and in case you had a sweeping dragon, Magearna is there for the random fairy type. We lead Sneasler on Aerodactyl to break its sash with Fake Out. We should have choice scarfed the Sneasler as Aero outspeeds the next turn to set up Stealth Rock for the Ice Punch to then take it out. The Garnadel comes in next, only for Togekiss to be immune to its Draco Meteor. The Ultra Beast sets up a nasty plot, and we mirror with a calm mind, with the same moves again in the next turn, as Sludge Wave finally comes in as we Drain Kiss back to green. Another Sludge Wave comes in to put us in the red, for Togekiss to then finish off with another Kiss. Gouging Fire comes in to Flare Boots our Garganacl, as we iron defense on the legendary dog as it dragon dances up. We get our defense up to the max, with a couple more iron defenses as the gouging fire keeps hitting the brick wall. 2 more salt cures going into the fire dog that whittle it down, with Garganackle at almost 100% HP. Dragonite is next up to Dragon Dance as we break its multi-scale with Salt Cure and activate its weakness policy. Dragonite can see it can't do enough damage, so Dragon dances again but gets taken out by a critical hit, Body Press. Beginner is here to try and break our wall, hitting hard with a flash cannon as we Salt Cure it. Farigiraf can come in as Meganium goes for a shift gear as we Calm Mind up. We get hit with a floor cannon, but with the Salt Cure piling on and a couple dazzling gleams, finish off the Steel Fairy type, leaving Roaring Moon left. Nuzlocke comes in, take the crunch, and end the battle the same way it started, with a fake out for Chip and finally a Drain Punch, for the win against Claire and obtaining the final badge, the Rising Badge. Now on our way to Victory Road, we bump into Gary, who leads with Staraptor. Garganackle is in, the priority iron defense to eat the close combat. Seeing the lack of damage Staraptor does, it U-turns out into Azumarill as we set up another iron defense. Liquidation does slightly more than the close combat, but the Water Mouse gets a Salt Cure in return. We iron defense up and recover, and let the Salt Cure take out the Azumarill. Sneasler comes in, just to U-turn out into Charizard, who fortunately for me gets a critical hit with a boosted Body Press. Sandy Shock comes in, and Gary enjoys his switches, this time with a Volt Switch into Sneasler, taking another massive Body Press to go into the red. Same sequence of play occurs. Sneasler U-turns out as we recover into the Sandy Shocks, who Volt Switches into Sneasler, who takes his final Body Press. King Gambit is next to knock off our leftovers, but can't survive a Body Press even with its Truffle Berry. Sandy Shocks is faced off with Farigiraf, who just Volt Switches into Staraptor, who takes a heavy Twin Beam. Staraptor and Sandy Shocks continue to U-turn and Volt Switch out, where Staraptor only comes in on a bouncy bubble from Pincurchin, leaving Sandy Shocks 1v1 against the Farigiraf, who stays healthy with leftovers and hits a couple more Twin Beams to end the battle with our rival. Into Route 23 we go, showcasing our badges, from the Boulder Badge to the Rising, and before we can step into Victory Road, Brendan stops us for one more battle. Brendan has upgraded his starting mons, with a Deoxys boosting 180 attack and special attack, with a Focus Sash, but with its paper defenses, we lead Sneasler trying to fake out, but instead connect with Galarian Zapdos. We outspeed and U-turn out into Pincurchin to take the physical damage. We Bounty Bubble to stay healthy and finish the legendary bird with a Volt Switch into Sneasler. Landorus takes the fake out and the U-turn as Earth Eater Torkoal comes in. Expecting a Rock Slide, we opt to Will-O-Wisp, but get Sludge Waved and poisoned in the process. Togekiss can come in on any special attack, but a few switches later and Jirachi is face to face with Garganackle. We iron defense up as Brendan brings in the Mega Sceptile. As we stay in and go for Salt Cure on the Scale Shot, we priority recover and iron defense up again, with Salt Cure chipping away, ending the fight with Body Press. Huntail falls to another Body Press on the switch in. Jirachi flinches us with Serene Grace Iron Head, only to switch out into Landorus, who gets taken out with a Body Press. Deoxys is out, and instead of Salt Curing, we Body Press it, putting the Deoxys to its sash, but get hit heavy with a Psychic, before we switch into Togekiss, which in turn brings out Jirachi, this time faced up against Pincurchin. We get flinched a few times before we can connect with a Bouncy Bubble. Looking at how much damage we are receiving, with Jirachi locked into Iron Head because of its Choice Scarf, we opt to stay in on the flinching Iron Heads, waiting for a Bouncy Bubble to connect and keep us healthy. A final Bouncy Bubble takes out the Jirachi, and Deoxys can't do enough damage as we take it out with a final bouncy bubble. Entering Victory Road, we push some boulders around to open up the path, but we have a few mini bosses we need to get through. Our team is set to get us through, leading with Fake Out Sneasler for any sashes. First mini boss isn't any trouble, with Shedinja being walled by Torkoal, and Mousehold, Veluza and Mega Absol being walled by our defensive duo of Garganacl and Pincurchin. Next mini boss doesn't fare any better, with a special attacking Crobat, but Togekiss comes in and just soaks up all the attacks and Calm Minds up, taking 3 mons before Pincurchin deals with the Mega Kingler and Sneasler KOs the Cyclizard. Next Ace Trainer has mostly physical attacking mons, and with Sneasler taking out the Executor with an Ice Punch, Pincurchin and Iron Defensing Garganacl deal with the Mega Pinsir and the rest of the mons. Next Ace has a bunch of grass and poison types, but Sneasler takes out the Blossom and the Parasect, and damaging Amoonguss to low, with Farigiraf getting tagged in to take out the Vileplume, Lopunny and Amoonguss. Next trainer has Watermons, with a Dragon Dancing Feraligatr lead, but Pincurchin soaks up the damage, but the real threat was Empoleon, who we only brought Togekiss to deal with. Empoleon sets up a Calm Mind, but we whittle it down with Aura Sphere, and then get the KO before it can rest up to full again. The final Ace Trainer is a Normal and Fairy type, who all crumble to Sneasler, with a Diaclaw for the Fairy types and a double hitting Drain Punch for those normal types. They never had a chance. With the Ace Trainers down, we finally made it through to Victory Road and into the Indigo League to face the Elite Four. With the hardest battles up ahead, we look at what's in our box and narrow down our selection to 15 mons. We have a selection of physical defensive mons on the top row, our 2 Ice Scales Pokemon on the second row, our big hitters in the middle with a couple of huge power Pokemons, our Weather Setters on the 4th row, and our ability blockers with Neutralizing Gas, Milotic and Tentacruel. All these Pokemons have played a major role in getting us this far, but we can only take 6 of them through, and these are the Pokemon we select. First up, one of the best leads we have, and having seen how good he can be in Victory Road, it was an easy choice to bring Sneasler. With an amazing ability which gives its punching moves a second hit at 50%, we can choose to learn Fire Punch or Thunder Punch at any time. We go for an adamant nature on our Sneasler, equipping a Choice Scarf if needed to outspeed. Our Weather Setter will be Gigalith. With Desolate Land, it not only removes its water weakness, but trumps any incoming weather changes. With Great Bulk and 135 attacking stat, it can come in clutch. Next up, and probably has to be our best Pokemon, and the first Pokemon we caught on our journey, Togekiss. With Ice Scales and a calm nature, we're relying on it to take any special attack that comes its way. Garganacl is next. With amazing bulk and ability, we've already seen how priority Iron Defense and Recovery can do. Our next pick may come as a surprise, but Torkoal comes with a 100% accurate Will-O-Wisp. It's another great defensive mon to have that eats up all the earthquakes. And last but not least, the mascot of the run. Bruised and battered, but has never failed us in important battles. It's our fur coat Pincurchin. That completes our very physically defensive team. And first up, it's Lorelei and her snow team, with Ninetales and Abomasnow wanting to set up the snow on any given turn. Excalibur holding a Dragon Fang to boost its 120 power, Glaive Rush with Protect to abuse the move. But the real threat is Calyrex Ice, with ridiculous bulk and Assault Vest for good measure, spamming another 125 power move in Glacial Lance, hitting both Pokemon in this double battle. We lead Sneasler, accepting we'd be slower than Ninetales, and equipping it with a Choice Band to maximize its Drain Punch damage, alongside Gigalith to set up the desolate land. First turn Ninetales goes for the Blizzard, missing on Sneasler in the sun, but I don't think it would have made a difference, as Sneasler hits a Drain Punch into Glaceon for the KO. As Ninetales then follows suit, as Gigalith hits back with a Rock Slide for the early lead. Rotom comes in and a big threat Calyrex. We go for the double team on it, with Drain Punch going first to put it in the yellow. Rotom Volt switches on Gigalith, but with an Assault Vest we stay healthy, and we're thankful we did, with Calyrex going for a massive Glacial Lance, leaving both Pokemon in red. Not thinking Rock Slide would be enough, we risk it on a Stone Edge, and luckily we connect, eliminating Calyrex. Abomasnow and Rotom are on the field, and to continue momentum, Sneasler Drain Punches the Mega Abomasnow to heal up and avoid the KO from the Volt Switch in Rotom. As we switch out our Gigalith into Togekiss, Rotom refuses to leave the field as we bring in our Torkoal. We'd equipped a Choice Scarf on our Togekiss and strike first with a Moonblast on the Baxcalibur, who reacts by hitting a Glaive Rush into our Torkoal, as Rotom goes for a Thunderbolt on our Togekiss. Next turn, our Torkoal detects, and we try another Moonblast just in case Baxcalibur doesn't protect, but it does, just the same as the Scald on our Torkoal. With nowhere to go, another Moonblast goes into the Ice Dragon for the KO, as Pincurchin comes in to take the Scald. With Rotom the last Mon standing, we Moonblast it to its berry, taking a Thunderbolt into Pincurchin, who Volt switches into Sneasler, who watches Togekiss deliver the final Moonblast to defeat the first Elite Four. Bruno's fighting types are up next, and on paper should be the easiest of the four, with our defensive stack. And we're up against the Infernape lead team, who has a special attacking Komodo instead of Iron Hands, which Togekiss can hopefully deal with. Standout Mons in the team include Intrepid Sword Zacian, who can boost its attack even further with a Swords Dance at any time. Black Glasses or Shifu to boost its 100% critting Wicked Blow. And finally, Adaptability Mega Lucario with Stab boosted, Close Combat and Meteor Mash. We lead our Garganacl, hoping to set up and sweep, but get stopped quickly with a taunt just after getting away with an Iron defense. Infernape sets up Rock as we Salt Cure. Infernape then goes for a close combat as we hit another Salt Cure, with Infernape deciding to switch out into Zacian, which works out great for us as we hit another Salt Cure and Taunt wears off. We can Iron defense up again, with Zacian going for a Swords Dance. We Iron defense up again, but this time take a Behemoth Blade, putting us in the orange. But the Salt Cure is working its magic, and we see one more takes it down. So we stay in and go for priority recovery and survive another Behemoth Blade to take out the legendary dog. Iron Valiant comes in to stop Garganacl's fun, so Togekiss has to come in on the Aura Sphere. Taking a Thunderbolt on the next turn, Togekiss gets a crit to take out the Iron Valiant, where Bruno sends in Lucario. Pincurchin is our switch in, avoiding the boost on Meteor Mash. The Mega Swords Dance is up, as we Bouncy Bubble for good damage. We know another takes it out, but it all comes down to this Adaptability Close Combat, and we survive on 11 HP, for Bouncy Bubble to get the KO. Komodo switches in, but Clanging Scales doesn't affect our Togekiss. It goes for a Flash Cannon this time around, as we roost off the damage. We finish off the Komodo with a quad effective Moonblast, as our Shifu comes in for the same fate, doing just as little damage with Wicked Blow before the Moonblast blows it away. With Infernape left and low, and our Sneasler healthy, we know we can take a hit, outspeed with our Choice Scarf, and we do just that, as Drain Punch ends the battle with Bruno. Agatha is up next with her mix of Dark and Ghost types, which on paper looks slightly less intimidating than the previous two battles. All round solid team with special attacking hitters like Fluttermane and Goldingo. Physical attackers in Marshadow and Chienpao, and a shadow tag Mega Gengar to trap your Pokemon and hit you with 170 special attack base. We lead Togekiss, not caring on the Zoroark lead. As we Calm Mind up, Goldingo comes straight in. We take half from Let It Rain as we go for another Calm Mind. With leftovers, we risk the crit to roost back our health as another Let It Rain comes our way. Next turn, Goldingo nasty plots up to recover its lost special attack as we now roost to full. Trying to drop our special D, Agatha goes for a Shadow Ball as we return back a Moonblast to put it into the orange. A final Let It Rain comes our way as we survive on above half health and KO back with another Moonblast. Mega Gengar comes in, but we have already set up. We take the Shadow Ball and KO back with a Psychic as leftovers keeps us healthy. Agatha decides to send in another special attacking monster, this time Fluttermane, who Psyshocks, but we roost back our health. Another Psyshock does minimal damage, and we get the KO with Moonblast. Agatha finally sends a physical attacking Chienpao, as Pincurchin comes in to take the Icicle Crash. We Bouncy Bubble to absorb back the damage done by Crunch, with Pincurchin holding a Choice Specs for more damage, and the same sequence takes down the Chienpao. Agatha keeps playing into our hands, sending out Marshadow, who falls to the same fate. A couple more Bouncy Bubbles put the Marshadow on 1 HP before a final one takes it out, leaving Zoroark left, with Togekiss being taunted, then hitting a Moonblast to put Zoroark at sash range, and then ending the battle with another Moonblast to defeat Agatha. And finally, the toughest of the Elite Four, Lance is up next, with a selection of dragons to choose from. Weakness Policy Multiscale Dragonite is back. The Dragon Dance up with Mega Salamence. Assault Vest Melmetal covers the defense and offense. And the ridiculous Primal Dialga with bulk and 185 special attack, boosting its Roar of Time. We get a great start with Aerodactyl taking on our Scarfed Sneasler. Expecting the KO with Thunder Punch, Lance switches in to Dragonite, who takes the hit but breaks his multiscale and gets paralysed in the process. Garkanackle can come in on the dual wing beat and begin to iron defense as Lance Dragon Dances trying to play catch up. But we've seen this play out before. We iron defense to max and go for Salt Cure, with one more Salt Cure taking out the Dragonite. Salamence decides to come in next as we stay in for an early Salt Cure crit. Mega Salamence can only Dragon Dance up, as this time we opt for a Body Press that puts it on low enough for Salt Cure to do the rest. Finally, Dialga is out, and since we're at full health, we decide to just stay in, live a Flash Cannon, and hit hard with a Body Press. To ensure we can get out our Sneasler in a Flash Cannon, we switch into Togekiss first, who takes decent damage, and then bring in our choice Scarf Sneasler, who has now relearned Close Combat. The Close Combat comes in and takes out the huge threat, and we still have a full team of 6. Melmetal is out, and Pincurchin comes in to take the random move Thunder Punch. We try to force the Earthquake, but Torkoal comes in and gets hit with a double Iron Bash. We try and burn the Melmetal, but connect instead with the switched in Aerodactyl. Expecting the rocks, we go into Sneasler, but luckily we get taunted instead. We get the read wrong and go for a Drain Punch instead of Thunder Punching, but we get a massive crit on the second hit, take out the fossil. Iron Jugulis is up next, but our Togekiss is healthy and takes the Aeroblast. Melmetal switches in to take the Moonblast as Pincurchin comes in to take the Ice Punch. Same switch happens again, as this time we Volt Switch on the Iron Jugulis and bring back Togekiss. Iron Jugulis finally stays in to attack with Aeroblast on our Assault Vest Togekiss, giving us extra bulk as we finish it off with a couple of Moonblasts. Melmetal comes in as Pincurchin gets hit with a Thunder Punch, and this time Torkoal does come in on an Earthquake to activate its Earth Eater ability. We go for the burn again, and luckily no flinch, and we connect. We detect for chip, as the next turn Melmetal does get the double Iron Bash flinch. The cycle repeats. We detect for burn, but flinch on the bash. But luckily we have leftovers to keep us healthy. Finally Melmetal switches things around and goes for a Thunder Punch, as we survive it and end the tense battle with Overheat. What an intense battle. With all 4 Elite Four members down, there's only one more battle left to go. And that battle is against our rival Gary, who decided to completely revamp his team full of legendaries. And Assault Vest Yveltal can hit both defenses and put you to sleep with Dark Hole. Tough Claws Mega Metagross with 145 attacking stat. Eternatus with Power Herb Meteor Beam for the 1-turn boosting attack. And we get probably the worst draw of all. Miraidon with Hydron Engine and Parabolic Charge with leftovers to seem like you can live forever. At least we have a great lead with our choice Scarf Sneasler, who KOs the Pheromosa with a double hitting Fire Punch. Eternatus comes in, trying to go for the Dynamax Cannon, but our Assault Vest Togekiss is immune. Metagross walls the Togekiss, so Torkoal has to come in on the unfortunate Meteor Mash attack rise. We need to burn it, and it will all come down to if the Zen Headbutt will flinch the Fire Turtle. We get lucky and survive and hit the Will-O-Wisp. We detect for chip before sending in the Pincurchin to wall. We scold for damage, but instead land on the Yveltal, who gets burnt. Togekiss comes in the Dark Hole, but gets put to sleep. We stay in to burn the sleep turn, as Metagross comes back in, as we take the hit with Pincurchin. Expecting a switch, we Volt Switch out as Eternatus comes in, as we have to risk Togekiss again. But Eternatus decides to switch out again, as we burn another sleep turn. Same story, Mega Metagross is in, with Pincurchin, whose leftovers are keeping it healthy. This time, we Volt Switch on the Miraidon, as we hedge our bets on Gigalith. We need to hit hard, as Miraidon goes for a Calm Mind, and we Stomping Tantrum to put it on the orange. Luckily it doesn't go for Parabolic Charge to undo Gigalith's work, and instead KOs with Dragon Pulse to finally put our death count to 2. Sneasler can now come in, and without Ice Punch we have to settle for Dual Chop, and with the Choice Scarf we do just the right amount of damage to KO. Metagross is back in, but another Pincurchin Volt Switch hits Yveltal against Togekiss. We try and wake up as Yveltal goes for Oblivion Wing, but with no luck. We stay in, the next turn taking another Oblivion Wing. But this time we do wake up and go for a Draining Kiss, just shy of the KO. We really should have gone for Moonblast, but another Draining Kiss hits the Eternatus. Meteor Beam connects, as we hit a Psychic to put the Dragon Poison type in orange. We survive a Sludge Wave and finish it off with another Psychic. Metagross comes in to get Volt Switched on by Pincurchin on Pincurchin, as Ditto's Imposter ability procs. We take this chance to bring in Togekiss to heal with Draining Kiss, as we get hit with a Volt Switch into Metagross. Metagross is sick of the sight of Pincurchin, who finally gives up and attacks, and we finish it off with a Volt Switch into our Togekiss. Ditto transforms, and we go into Torkoal to see what it locks itself into, and it's Moonblast, as 2 take down the pivotal Burning Turtle. Garganacl can make his appearance and go off script with a KOing Ice Punch. Yveltal is the only mon standing, and to secure our victory, we let Garganacl go down to a Dark Hole. Sneasler is free to come in and hit one more close combat, take down the Yveltal, defeat our rival, and complete the challenge. What an amazing journey it's been, and goes to show you how a change of ability can break a Pokemon. If you enjoy what you saw, please like and subscribe, as I'll be uploading more unique runs just like this.